guys, Dr. Sandal here. Today I am joined by my good friends Conner Keyeski and Dr. Lauren Poull, and we want to talk to you guys about why mainstream medicine often fails patients. We're going to do a succinct 30-minute video today. We hope that it's really useful for you guys, and if this generates any questions you would like Conner's opinion, you would like Lauren's opinion, you'd like my opinion, please let us know in the comments. We would love to make a video catering to your exact questions. So, without further ado, what do you guys feel is the current state of medicine?
That's a loaded question, I think. I think there's a lot of distrust. I think there's a lot of, I feel a lot of people coming in not knowing where to go. They have some maybe thoughts or ideas of what they want, but they don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
I always enjoy when patients do their own research and bring ideas to me, because there's so many things out there that we all don't know. So I think that more people are doing that. They're like, okay, where can I find success? Look at things that might not be something that they're getting from their conventional docs, and how can I have someone there in my corner to help me with that?
It's nice to have a place to go with people who are active scientists. And I hesitate to use the word expert, because I think that word has really gotten us to a wrong place, an incorrect place in medicine. The idea that someone is the expert in gastroenterological health, for instance, implies they know everything, or at least has come to imply they know everything. And like you're pointing out, one of the really cool things about all of the democratization of information online is like, yeah, patients can do research. And sometimes I learn things from my patients. I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that. Like, okay, let me go hit the books and get you a good answer on that. Our role is to be actively engaged as scientists and healers with them, rather than being the guy who says, no, that's not true.
Oh, yeah, it's funny you're pointing that out, because so many times I think our patients are the expert and we're the consultant, right? Like, they come to us and they're like, they put together, they don't even know they're doing it, but they put together, they like serve up to us all the information that we need to help kind of put out lots of hypotheses about, like, well, maybe it's this and maybe it's this, and then work together to kind of, I don't know, improve.
Yeah, that's good medicine. We're guides, right? Ultimately. And I agree 100% with both of your points there. We're at a place in medicine where people know that going to the doctor usually won't get them what they need, or want, for that matter. And of course, it's one of the reasons that I'm really happy that we get to do what we do here, because we get to be the counterpart to that. And I'd be remiss to not mention most MDs are very compassionate, intelligent people, but the reality is that our system is a hot disaster zone nuclear mess. And I think everybody gets that. You know, when you go in to see a doctor and you fill out some paperwork, you sit in the waiting room for an hour, and the doctor comes in and he's looking at his watch, and 15 minutes later you have a prescription. You're like, wait, how did I get hoodwinked into this? Like, I came here with a problem and I left with a script that at best is a cover up to this problem. That's not healing. That's not actual, progressive science. We're not getting better at things as a team.
Well, in that example, the person who came with lots of good ideas about their health didn't have any time to actually communicate that. And so then it just is lost.
Having extra time.
100%. Time is huge.
We don't get to kind of dig into the weeds and try and connect dots when it's 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. We all get to spend an hour with our patients. And sometimes I'll have a 30-minute visit because something's super straightforward, like someone just had a head cold. But even in those simple cases, like, well, why did you get a head cold? Like, is this your third head cold this year? What is going on with that? There's so much that we can do towards the optimization of healthcare. I'm increasingly thinking of what we do here as sort of optimistic or perfectionist healthcare. It's like, you don't want to come and see us, and we love you. It's great, but we don't want you to be reliant on coming to see us all the time. We want you to be in great health. Mm-hmm. So how do we get there? It's taking their own analysis and experience and research and combining it with the time and our expertise. Not that we are the experts, but we are studied, and we can help guide and connect dots and help them access technical assays and things to, get data. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun.
It's really
And
a
should
privilege.
be fun, and I think that's also what's going on in medicine is the fun is gone.
Yeah.
The joy is gone. I mean,
Yeah. Oh man.
So many practitioners are burnt out, and this is a chronic problem that the system itself even knows about and still can't figure out how to fix. And I think a big part of it is also just there is a huge and growing buffer between patient and doctor a lot of the times, like so many other interested parties, like all of the managers and insurance companies, and even to a certain extent, like all the obsession with metrics, where it's like, we want to be able to track our successes and identify the places that we need to work, but at the same time, not to the we can't take that time and that energy away from our patients. And and I think also using those metrics to a fault takes away from that individualized medicine that we're trying to really put at the forefront here.
I think it's a good way to put it. The art and soul, to make a bad pun there, sorry guys, the art and soul of medicine comes from us treating our patients as individuals. And when you talk about all those other interested parties, they're interesting in a bad way, I guess. All the other interested parties coming in, they have nothing to do with that individual who's come to us for healing. They have everything to do with maximizing profit for the insurance company or the pharmaceutical company. Oh, you have to prior auth that. You can't prescribe that because that costs us too much money. Or the middle manager for the hospital system. All of that is not thinking about the patient. It's thinking about the dollar. And that's frankly antithetical to healing. That's nonsensical. It's a non-starter. But that is our entire system. And so you've got all these really nice MDs, DOs, NPs, heck, chiropractors, naturopaths, brilliant people everywhere who are like, how do we do good medicine for people? And they oftentimes exist in a system that is just grinding the practitioner into dust. What to speak of the poor patients who are like, who will help me with this thing? And the doc is like, I don't know, go to another specialist. I don't know. Like, okay, that's a crap answer. Like, we got to dig in. We have to dig in.
Yeah, how many patients can I get in to see in a day? And what are my patient ratings or my scores?
Right.
Like you mentioned, the metrics. And
well, and there's an administrator breathing down their neck on that. It's not that those doctors, are like, I gotta maximize my paycheck. Right. I don't think most doctors really think that way. What they're thinking is, oh God, I gotta hurry up or they're gonna yell at me. Like, if
I don't click, if I have to go to a meeting where I'm told all the tiny little parts of this computer to click, and if I forget 30 clicks that don't give any benefit to my patient, then I might actually lose money or might lose
Get
my
disciplined
job. Like, who knows? Yeah. And then not to mention the note writing.
We won't go there.
We'll go there.
We won't go there. Nobody wants to hear about note writing. So we are pioneering a type of medicine that pays attention to the individual, that gets to look the individual in the eye and spend time with them and hear them and come to a conclusion with them as a team on what best serves their health. And all of that requires a new system. I mean, that's why I often say that we're building a parallel medical system. I don't really want to fight multi-billion-dollar industries. The pharmaceutical industry has a lot of vested interest in controlling things. And I'm like, that's fine. I want people to vote with their wallets. People are not captive to this. If they know there's a better product, they can go seek it out if they want to. And it's a growing movement. It's still somewhat quiet, I suppose. Not everybody knows about it, but guys like Joe Rogan talking about it. Okay, things are moving. People generally are starting to learn about it. So, question for both of you. For people who are still stuck in the traditional healthcare system, what would be your guys' advice to them?
I think that just advocating for, themselves, bringing some ideas to the table, and if it's not well received, okay, can I find a provider who is more open to having an open discussion, not just, okay, here's what we're going to do, and this is our only option.
Vote with your feet.
Yeah, and back to, I like it when people bring their ideas and have things to openly discuss, and then we talk about it and figure out, okay, what would be best served in that situation that the patient's agreeable to. Because ultimately it's their choice.
Right.
I'm gonna make recommendations, but if they don't want to do it, quite honestly, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, and I don't want them to feel like I'm a dictator.
Yeah.
So let's have a joint discussion. Here's 3 options. What would be something that they are open to doing? Smart.
I used to say, I'm a physician partner, not a doctor dictator.
Yeah.
I haven't said that line in a long time. It came to mind when you said that.
Yeah. I would say, I hear so many patients kind of preface questions like, oh, well, this might be a dumb question, but I'm just going to ask anyway. But I think questions are so important, and we don't know even like, it's really important to be able to get good feedback, to get to the core of like, what do I hope for my health? And I think, as a little sidebar, I think the expectations have become so low that I would almost say for patients, aim way higher than you think you can. Like, expect excellent health. Don't just expect the absence of really bad symptoms, but advocate and ask the questions and get to the bottom of like, this is how I envision my healthiest self. Body, mind, heart, all of those things. And hey, doc, how can we get there? And then if that...
I love that.
Yeah. And that should be a conversation that all health providers are like finding joy in trying to like work that out with a patient. And if that's not the response you get, then maybe that's a signal that you got to find someone that will give you that response.
Yeah, here.
And then, there's people who, they're lost.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what questions to even ask.
It's like when I take my car in to get taken care of. I don't know what I don't know. I'm at the total mercy of the person that works there who's the expert in this. And so, yeah, it's hard to know what to ask. People say ask questions, but if you don't even know like where to start, that's normal.
And that's why I think that extra time that we get, because we can ask questions that, oh yeah, maybe that does connect a dot between symptoms or things that happened in the past that could still be causing issues now. Even our intake paperwork, I always tell people it's a short novel, but for us and for the patient, it gives you some things to think about that you're probably not thinking about on a daily basis. Oh, yeah, I haven't thought about that in a while. Let me put that down. I don't know what that's going to offer to them, but there's a reason it's there and it might give them some insight.
I definitely think that we have a normalization of poor health in our society. I say this in the U.S., but it's also true globally to the extent that our healthcare system will affect further out. Yeah, so we have this culture of limited health concept. People are just used to poor health. I literally can no longer count the number of people who have come to me, and we've been talking about their diet and their gut health, and people are like, yeah, my gut hurts after I eat. That's normal. And it's totally normalized. Like, no, your body is giving you a signal. That's what that pain literally is. Something is not right. And they're like, well, it happens every time. I'm like, yeah, that's a really big deal. Like, okay, we have to deal with that. And we just don't have a thoughtful healthcare system anymore. People don't dig in to those deeper questions and challenge norms and push towards the optimization. Not only should our guts not hurt when we eat, we should feel pumped up and charged and light and energetic after we eat. How many people feel tired after their meals? I don't know, 50+% of Americans?
I'm sure.
Like, that is not right function. That is something wrong with the system. And when we think about the top end of healthcare, when we think about how do we really do the best possible job for amount of health, for duration of life, sort of getting into longevity work, we have to really, really push the boundaries. And we should all just be doing this. Kids know how to do this. Kids have this, they're not accultured to imagine that their health is limited. They're like, hey, I used to be able to do it and I can't do that. What's wrong with me? Right? Like, something's up. Oh, good. Let's fix that. We should all be that way. It's like, I don't have fun at my job. Like, well, that's a medical illness. Like that actually is. Like, that's not normal. There's something wrong. And that, I mean that in the sense like it could be hormonal or neurochemical, but also the sort of spiritual malaise there of like, I'm doing something that doesn't sing to me is also going to impact our health. It's all super important. So I'd love to see more of the public voting with their feet, like you were saying, Conner, to good medicine. Like, how do you go talk to somebody who wants to optimize, who asks you those hard questions? Like, when was the last time you felt great, genuinely great? How do we get you back there? That's brilliant. I mean, talk about a health care system instead of an illness care system. Like, that's what's at the heart of that. So, guys, what are we thinking about for the future of healthcare? We're all innovating. You guys are demonstrating that. You guys are thinking about the limitations of the current system and thinking ahead. What does that look like? Are we working with other MDs and that system to encourage them? Or are we just focusing on building our own parallel thing? Are we doing outreach? What is the future of healthcare?
Good question. Yeah. I think there has been a shift. It seems like, I would say maybe last 5 years. I think maybe COVID had stirred up the masses into thinking, well, is this the right way to approach things? Why am I not being more preventative in my health? Why am I waiting to get sick and then reacting? So how that works into the current healthcare system, I'm not sure. But I think just if there's a public shift in thought and desires, that's gonna change how things are structured.
Well, and ultimately, if enough people get to experience in their own bodies just by a feeling of that great health, that this is possible, then word of mouth. I mean, like you said, we can't just go knock heads with all of the pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies and huge managed care, whatever that even is. And
the Leviathan, the Hydra.
Yeah. And like I've heard you say so many times, I don't think we have a workforce issue in healthcare. I think there are a lot of people who are naturally drawn to want to help people find the best health possible. And it's a matter of putting our communication wires out there and just letting it be known that this is, number one, possible, and it's working really well for some people, and just tell all your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where we have to start at least. And then here, talking to the internet.
Hi, internet.
Hi.
Well, I think there's still a time and a place for those other modalities. So it's not like that's going to be totally replaced. Time and a place for pharmaceuticals. There's situations where we need those things that will still be a part of the system. It's how does that blend?
Yeah. I think one of the hesitations that people come against is people are very used to having insurance, and they're used to paying a lot of premiums for a product with a high deductible. It's again, talk about normalized illness. I think our insurance is very much a part of that, frankly. And unfortunately, people feel like all their healthcare dollars are tied up in that. And so then like, well, I'm going to go see someone who's going to think about how great my health could be. Well, they're going to charge me cash, and well, my dollars are already stuck in the insurance system. This is definitely a problem that we are trying to solve proactively. We're trying to find health insurance alternatives to tie people up with so that they can save their premium dollars. A lot of these cost 10 cents on the dollar. 10% of what a big insurance company can cost. And frankly, they're just as good for most regards. And then people have money with which they can vote with. They can go find a provider who's going to respect them and work with them rather than on them. But even if people are getting their insurance covered by, let's say, their work or something, the reality is that if you want really good health care, you have to find a really good practitioner. And truth be told, most of these people are cash pay at this point. And obviously, I'm speaking from a biased position, but it's worth the fees for that. I'm really pleased that here in Lawrence, Kansas, we're able to keep things really minimal. I was just at a national conference on longevity, and people were literally charging, 5 to 10 times what we charge here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like, it's worth it. It really is. So we have a product here that is awesome. It's cheap. It's for the community. That's a great step in the right direction. And then if we can help people put more money in their wallets by giving them good alternatives to insurance, well, okay, now we're really making an impact.
And you're not comparing, it's not like you're paying this much money for this and this much money for this. It's one option is going to give you individualized, comprehensive, thoughtful, personal care. And if you can find that with your company's insurance, more power to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. And please tell everyone where you found those people in that clinic. Yeah. Right? I mean, ultimately, we all want everyone in our community to be healthy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's hard the way that the structure is, it's really hard for all those really well-meaning practitioners to provide the care that they would like to be able to provide because of just how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, and to add on to that, I think the difference is whether you think that your current provider is doing the health work you want.
Yeah.
Ask that question. Or do you really want to feel a lot better? Mm-hmm. Most of our medical system is geared around resolving feeling badly.
Or just like maintaining, like, don't get worse, don't get worse, don't get worse, versus like, let's actually get awesome.
How do we get to the positive side? How do we go from the negative to the neutral? Okay, that's great. But then how do we go from the neutral to the positive so we have a buffer and we don't become ill? How do we age in a fashion that is slow and feels full and we get to do what we want in our lives? Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Thank you guys for joining me on just shooting the breeze on this. Yeah. We're trying to build a parallel medical system that serves you guys. Please reach out to us. Let us know if we can help you with your health. Also, just out there for anybody online, if you have questions, if you want to pick Conner's brain, Lauren's brain, my brain, drop a comment. Let us know what questions you guys have. Do you agree? Do you disagree? We'd love to hear it. See you guys next time.